Hello everyone and welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. A wee bit earlier this week, that's all my fault because I have work commitments, so it's coming to you late on a Monday night instead of a Tuesday, but at least you're still getting one. So this week, Michael Beale departs, Stephen Davis is in charge for now, and a trip to Cyprus, all in the space of 5 days. The life of being a Rangers fan. I am Scott Carney and I'm joined by Ali Pearson. It seems to always be you just now as well, Ali.
I'm getting my appearances in Carney before I go on holiday on Sunday.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
I'm not on the pod, so yeah. No, good to be here again and talk more Rangers. So I need a holiday, to be honest, Carney, because Rangers have, it's not great, is it?
No, well, we'll see. And Ryan Haymarch, how are you, mate?
I'm okay. Ali Pearson on holiday again, eh? Maybe there should be another sacking.
You've got cheek.
Disgusted. You've got to commit yourself to this podcast, Alistair. I'm a bit disappointed in you. And like I said there, I don't know if he's heard that. I think there should maybe be another sacking getting considered here.
I don't even know the next time that I'm not on a pod. I suppose it would have been tomorrow night, but it just makes more sense for us to do it tonight. But I can't actually think the next time that I'm not actually on one. Anyway, that does not matter. So yes, tonight obviously there's talking points aplenty, and we all know what they are. But before we do get into that, just a shameless plug to support the podcast to reach the next level. You can join the YouTube channel for as little as 99p a month. You can also buy the podcast a coffee and join the Coffee Buying Legend membership via buymeacoffee.com. All the links are in the description for this podcast. If you can like and subscribe, that would be great. We're now going for whatever target you want to go for, because we've reached 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is mental. I think we're at a very, very close to 1.5 million views overall as well on YouTube, which again is just absolutely crazy. So from all of us here at the podcast, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for the incredible support. It's still crazy to me that there's so many people that want to continue to come back and support us. So thank you very, very much for that. It's good. It's one good thing that's came out of this week. Well, I suppose you could say two, maybe. That's depends what way you're looking at things. But
it's the locations, Carney.
Yeah.
It's the locations of people that blow my mind. See when you see the comments and people are saying, I'm watching in Singapore or Thailand, wherever, it blows my mind. Folk are sitting in other countries watching us. Why are they doing that?
I know it is. It's one of those things, and it's just amazing. Even at the weekend there, I was sitting with Stuart and the Viceroy having a couple of beers before the game, and Stuart stays in Dundee, and he was just talking about the pod and the way that we are and the way we do things and how much he appreciates what we do and how we do it, and it's all very humbling. It really is. It's just brilliant. It really is brilliant. But over 5,000 subscribers. I genuinely thought it would be the end of the season, and we're not even there yet. We're not even anywhere near it yet. So yes, right, we'll get into things now. We'll start with more reaction, I suppose, to Michael Beale's departure that was announced on Sunday night. Ryan, obviously this is the first time you've come on since the announcement was made. There was no choice really for the board. It had to be done.
Oh God, it had to be done, yeah. Well overdue as well, in my opinion. I think I was one of the first of us, I can't remember, after the Old Firm game, we were outside the Viceroy and I said, he's got to go tonight for me. I know you can't just pull the gun and it's reactive, but I just didn't see any way back for him then, Carney. I was worried that we would let the league slip away and then we'd do it, and it looks as if the board have done that. So it's been well overdue for me. I didn't see any signs that he was going to get it turned round. I didn't see any signs, and I want to emphasise that, any signs at all that he was going to turn this round. Michael Beale's been well out of his depth. That was my fears when I originally got the job. The Rangers had to relieve him his duties. We were going nowhere under him. Question marks still remain over his incomings in the transfer window. We spoke about how he would be judged on these big signings, and he's been judged on them so far, mate, because they've not shown up either. They've let him down. But current players have also let him down as well, mate. So yes, there was no other decision but to relieve him of his duties. His record was abysmal, and we were going nowhere.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that, really, and we will get into a wee bit in slightly more detail. Ali, obviously, we did a kind of not a breaking news pod. It wasn't breaking news. We did a reaction pod, I suppose, to the breaking news of Beale's departure last night. what we didn't really get in time to speak about, which I was going to speak about tonight, was just how Ibrox has been over the past, well, since the old firm, really. It's not been a very nice place to be, and it was becoming a bit of a chore. The amount of times we were saying to each other, like, I don't really want to go here. Even the Wednesday night game, the Livingston game, me and you both said it to each other, like, why? What is wrong with us two? Why do we continuously have to go to these games? Which is true, but on Saturday, mate, it's probably the most toxic atmosphere I've heard at Ibrox probably my entire life. Generally, I mean that, and I include Pedro and whatever else that we've been through that. It was building and building and building, mate, and it got to a point where it wasn't going to be sustainable anymore. But have you heard Ibrox as bad as it was on Saturday? And have you seen a reaction from the fans like that when Aberdeen went 2-0 and the place pretty much emptied, mate?
No, it's going to Ibrox this season. Like you say, Carney has been a chore. It's the one thing in life we enjoy doing is our football every weekend. Saturday 3:00 if we can. We all enjoy it. Not just us Rangers supporters, anyone that supports a football club. That's what you enjoy doing, supporting your club. And I always get a buzz going to Ibrox. I still get a buzz, but the last few games, Carney, it was a chore. It was, and you. Especially the weather, the way it is getting now. The one on Wednesday night, Carney, you said that you looked and you thought, you really want to go. It's on the telly as well. But where the mugs are going, Carney, we're there all the time. But that's supporting your team. And Saturday as well, I honestly thought that was a game where we might slip up. Because if you look at this start of the season, Carney, the fixtures have been kind to us. We've not been away to your Pittodries, Easter Roads, Tynecastles yet. Aberdeen was the first kind of test, if you want to say, outside Celtic coming to Ibrox, and they dealt with us convincingly, easily, I thought. School does at times, which should not be happening at Ibrox against an average Aberdeen team, if you want to be honest. But in terms of the atmosphere at Ibrox, yeah. To be honest, guys, see it 2-0, even the guys round about me, we all looked at each other and kind of went, we've been waiting on it. It wasn't a shock. And yeah, there was a bit of me sitting there at Ibrox, and this isn't staunch, so maybe get done first. But I was sitting there not hoping, but I was thinking, if Aberdeen do put 2-3 past us, it's going to help us in the long run because the board will have to act. If we'd maybe got a point there at the weekend, he might have limped on again. But for me, I was sitting there thinking that, and maybe that's not, if you want to say staunch or something, but I was thinking of the long term for Rangers, and he had to leave Ibrox, Carney. I remember coming to the Newcastle game pre-season, and I text you going, I'm worried. That was Newcastle pre-season. I couldn't see it. And it filtered into when we went to Hoffenheim again and into the beginning of the season. So it's not been great. And he had to go. He just had to go.
I think you saying that, mate, I can completely understand your point of view and the way that you were feeling. And I think that pretty much highlights I would say the majority of the fans that are going, not just going to Ibrox, I don't mean it like that, but watching Rangers, because it was one bad moment away from this. Since the Old Firm game, we've all been waiting for something bad to happen. It was inevitable that it was going to happen. Did it happen quicker than I thought it was going to? Yeah, it did. I thought Rangers would have muddled through on Saturday. I'm not going to lie. I thought we'll probably just stumble across the line here. But obviously, it was a terrible game of football. The players and tactics, everything, the style of football, all of it was just absolutely horrible to watch. Really, really horrible to watch. But I say, I don't think you're being unstaunched there, mate, because it was kind of like we all wanted to put out our misery, mate. I think we'd all got to the point where we'd seen enough of it, and there was no improvement. There was nothing changing. And as nice a guy Michael Beale is, Ryan mentioned it, he was completely out of step, and he's been caught out. It has been caught out because Saturday was just so far off it. But I completely can get that, mate. Ryan, as I say, Saturday, have you experienced an atmosphere like that? Have you experienced such a kind of reaction by the fans like that, where they kind of made their point by their booing, their jeers, whatever way you want to look at it, their expressions? I say, I've always said that I don't boo. Ali said that he was pretty calm when it went 2-0. I was not calm when it went 2-0. I went pretty apoplectic when it went 2-0, but I realised that it was the end, I suppose, and the players had pretty much thrown in the towel for Beale at that point. There was nothing really left of the Rangers team. But have you experienced an atmosphere like that in your whole time going to Ibrox?
No, not as toxic as that. I think we've all been to some horrendous games on with Rangers, especially through the banter years, and even the lower divisions with some shocking results, and they got booed. The team get booed at times, which I always say if that's your prerogative. If you want to do that, I've no issue with
I
it.
agree.
They've been booed at times, and I was at the Hammond when they came to Ibrox and just totally tore us apart, 1-5-1 that day. And I'll be honest, boys, I left it 3-1 that day, and I just I've never experienced anything like what happened on Saturday. The atmosphere was talking. You could feel the tension in there as well. I think you could feel people were ready to go. If Aberdeen scored another goal, they were ready to go. And as soon as it went 2-0, I'll put my hands up, boys. I left the stadium. I said to them, "Oh boy, I'm ready to leave." My dad was the same. He just wanted to go because hats off to them that it'll sit during that. And I find Ibrox, it can be the best place in the world to be, or the worst, the last place on earth I want to be. When it's like that, I don't want to be anywhere near it because, like last night, I was kind of watching the news and I was getting emotional, mate. I get Rangers are in my heart, the same as with everyone, but I get emotional with Rangers, and when Rangers are like that, I hate seeing the fans getting like that. I hate seeing people getting upset, and it destroys me. So I'd rather just leave the stadium, get away from the place, and that's what I did on Saturday. The atmosphere was horrendous, but one thing I will say is I've never known the fans to be so unified.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember them like people wanted Le Guin away, and I was going home and away then, and I was at Fir Park that day, and people were fighting in the stand because people were backing Barry Ferguson and other fans were backing Le Guin. But the support has been, I don't know anyone who did not want Michael Beale relieved these duties. Some people in a nasty way, some things have been said that shouldn't have been said, and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. We all want Rangers to win. And yeah, Saturday was extremely toxic, making it's an atmosphere I never want to see again.
I agreed. I'd never want to experience it again either. It's horrible. As I say, it's just not a nice place to be. But ultimately, it's the frustration of it all. And Ali, I think no more so than the style of football or the lack of that we were seeing under Beale. There was no improvement, mate. There was nothing. There was nothing nothing you could put your hat on to say, right, okay, Rangers are trying this, they're trying that. It's this turgid football, mate, like side to side stuff that we've seen a million times before that doesn't work. And ultimately, the signings as well that he's made on paper right now, mate, not on paper, and what we've seen so far with our own eyes, none of them have worked apart from Butland. You can take Butland out of the equation, right? Because I think he's quality, and I don't think he'll be at Ibrox for long. But I think he's great. But the rest of them just haven't worked. They really haven't worked. And Beale signed these players. I know the players aren't great, right? I do get that, and I know they deserve criticism, but Beale signed them. That's the thing. And he signed players that you couldn't get the best out of. Ultimately, he's lived and died by his own signings.
Yeah, he's fallen the sword, Carney. There isn't a Ross Wilson there to pass the buck to, if you want to say, in terms of who these players are coming in the door. He said to us pre-season, he went and got these players. He even said to us pre-season that there's one or two guys Rangers fans should be excited about in terms of coming to Ibrox.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he talked too much for me, Beale. He said too much, and he's given us ammo. He's given the press ammo. He's given a lot of people ammo. In terms of he said he sat in front of these guys, looked in their eyes, and asked could they play for Rangers. Rangers are an intimidating place to play, especially when the crowd can turn like that, Carney. Players can go in their shell, but these players that he signed so far, I mean, we're only just into October now. So far, apart from Jack Butland, none of them have impressed me at all. I mean, Dessers, Carney, I don't know if you've gone to. I couldn't remember a player getting booed off of Ibrox.
I've never heard it. I don't think
a new player like that.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, it just showed how toxic Saturday was, but they've not worked at all. And he signed these players, Carney. And the worrying thing going forward is, we bring a new manager in, but this new manager's stuck with these players. These guys are on 3-4 year contracts. You can't just get rid of them. So he needs to get a tune out of these guys. So it'll be interesting going forward because stuff will come out in the wash in terms of the players and the manager, but there just looked a disconnect between the players, which is weird because he came out and says he'd went and got guys that maybe fallen away in their career, your Lammers, your Dessers, and he'd put an arm round them, but it just looked a disconnect for the players to the management staff, Carney. So, yeah, he's died on his sword, Michael Beale, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, and I think he's the style of manager that he is as well. I feel like I can't see him going into a dressing room and giving people the hairdryer treatment. I've never seen him do
Even
it.
his backroom staff, Carney, did his backroom staff fill you with confidence?
No, see, when obviously it was announced that they were all released along with them. I don't know who any of them are. I couldn't point them out in a crowd. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way that I could have. He didn't know anything really about the guys at all. And none of them installed great faith, I suppose. That was turned out to be true. And I'm not being a hypocrite here. I'm not, and I always say it. You can go back and watch when we announced Beale, even when we were linked with Beale. I was all for it. I couldn't wait for it. I thought it was going to be a good appointment. I thought it was going to work, but I'm allowed to change my opinion. And yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong. It didn't work. It was a disaster really from start to finish. Ryan, as well, what you have to remember. This is a new season. Last season, Michael Beale's not won a big game. He hasn't. Betis is maybe the only one you could maybe give pass marks to, but it's not really a massive game as such. But he's ultimately failed in every big game that he had, and Ali's spot on. We've not been away to Easter Road yet. We've not been away to Tynecastle. Aberdeen come to Ibrox and convincingly beat us 3-1. There's not really a case for Michael Beale to stay on as Rangers manager, and if you're being honest and looking at his reaction at full time on Saturday during the press conference, he knew his time was up.
Yeah, I think he's been told he's one result away from it, from serious discussions happening, and he's probably been unofficially told if we lose Aberdeen or St Mirren, then we're going to have to consider your position. I think you could tell by the way he spoke. No, he didn't win any big games for me. Betis was a good result. It's a group stage Europa League game. Is it a big game? No, the big one was against PSV, mate, for me. He didn't win any big games. I said to Ali, and it would have been an early shout, and I remember saying to him in the Edmonton House when we were watching the Kilmarnock game, when he lost that Kilmarnock game, I said, I'd sack him just now. And I could see Ali looking at me as if first game of the season. I'm thinking, yeah, because that is filling me with fear that we have, not because we lost the game, but to start the season the way we did, with no tempo, everybody looking well off it, it gave me the fear. I thought, where do you go here if that's how you start your season? If there was a bit of style was shown or something different, you could say, do you know what? Yes, we lost today, but you can see what Beale's trying to do. All pre-season, we were all saying it, and you were kind of, for me, because I'm the negative one all the time, and I know I am, and my face is like thunder all the time. I won't apologise for it. It'll be like thunder until Rangers lift trophies. You know me, boys.
Yeah.
But I was scared to say it at times. I was scared to go like that. Do you know, I can see nothing, because you could see people saying, "Oh, get behind the team and do this and do that." Do you know, we should have just stuck with our guns and went, "Yeah, we look absolutely dreadful," because we did. There was nothing to suggest that he'd implemented any sort of style or gave us any sort of hope. And the thing that made it worse, Carney, is if you remember when Joey Barton came here and he gave it plenty about how he was going to run Glasgow and how he was going to put Celtic to the sword, Beale did the exact same. He came in and he said, it's going to be handbrake off stuff, attacking football, a style and a brand that the fans are going to love. Why did you say that? Why you've not only given them ammunition, but you've gave us ammunition if we don't get that. And he got off on the wrong foot straight away. And yeah, for me, he didn't win any big games, and I will not look gracefully at his period as Rangers manager, put it that way.
No, it won't be remembered fondly at all, which is a shame, because I 100% believe that Beale loves the club. I've got no doubt that he loves the club. It was a dream job for him, but a job that he couldn't manage, a team that he couldn't manage, and the pressure of it, I think, so ultimately got to him. I do agree he came in at the start a bit too all guns blazing for me, and all he did was probably in hindsight create a bit of hook for his own back, if you look at it that way. Because, well, if he'd have backed it up, maybe not, and you were seeing something, you'd be like, fair enough. But we didn't see any of it. We really didn't see any of it, and ultimately it's led to his departure from Rangers. I wish him nothing but the best. I think his Instagram post was fair enough, but even when I read his Instagram post, it was. I just reading it, I was going. He knew it was happening. He knew he was getting sacked. It was inevitable. It was kind words from him. It was, and I'm sure he will always look out for Rangers, and I'm sure he'll be back one day as a fan, and he'll be seen again. And people will always respect him as a man, I think, and maybe for how kind a man he is. But his Rangers managerial career. Was a disaster. It really was a disaster. So we'll move on to Stephen Davis. It was announced in the same statement from the club that Stephen Davis is becoming interim manager with Alex Rae and Stephen Smith alongside him. He gave his first interview to Rangers TV earlier on today. He said winning is what matters. He added the call was a shock, but he wasn't expecting it to happen. But it's an opportunity he couldn't turn down. He is very honoured. He's looking to repay the trust the club has shown in him. At this moment in time, he wants to install a bit of pride back in terms of how Rangers play. He spoke very highly of the group of players, and he said he's seen the application and knows they are good players. He emphasised that it will be a joint effort from all the management team that have been put in place. He knows what the team are capable of, and he wants to set the team up in a way to help them flourish. He has respect for the players as well as belief in them, and doesn't see the transition to manager being a problem. He says we will be well prepared for Thursday, and hopefully the team and fans can push each other on. Ali, your thoughts on this, mate? Obviously, it's his first first public statement as a Rangers interim manager. Anyway, what's your thoughts behind what you've heard from Steve Davis so far? I think, and for what it's worth, what I think is what the board have done here is probably quite a good move, because I don't believe anybody, I don't know any Rangers fan that doesn't like Steve Davis, and the pressure is off him to an extent. We're not expecting miracles to come from him, but for a guy to come in and install the standards, the values of this club back, I can't think of any better.
Yeah, how many caps has he got for Northern Ireland, and what he's done for Rangers? I think he's as surprised as us that he's got the job. He said that today. He was very surprised when he took the phone call to be the interim Rangers manager, but he's got respect, Carney. He's a guy that's been there. He's done it. He's won trophies. He's won trophies with Rangers. I think he's in to steady the ship, Carney. Guide us over these next two games at least. Limassol, I think, will take care of itself out there. The big one for me is St Mirren away on Sunday. That's a must 3 points. We can't drop anything now. So, yeah, he needs to install a bit of belief into these players as well, Carney, and he needs to get in amongst these new players and tell them what it's about, because I don't think these players do know what it's about, some of these new players that have come in. But yeah, will he get the new manager bounce? I know he's not the new manager, but you see it quite a lot of times when somebody comes in, the team all of a sudden kick into gear. I hope they do. They need to kick into gear, Carney, because they haven't kicked into gear all bloody season. So, Steve Davis got in there. He knows the players. He's played with them. I just hope he's fit and he's got his boots for Thursday night. No, sorry, he can't play Thursday night because we're running out of players.
That would have been good if you could have come in and played, mate. That's for sure. Ryan, your thoughts on this? I don't think anybody's seen it coming, to be honest. I can't say I'm 100% against it, because I don't think I am, but it's because of probably how much high regard that I hold Steve Davis in. He's the ultimate professional for me. Whether he's Ali's right. It's hard when you're seeing a guy like Steve Davis come into this, because this isn't going to be his job. I don't believe for a second that the board have any long-term plans for Steve Davis to take the club forward. But he is here to steady the ship, and if anything, mate, he knows the squad inside out. He knows the place inside out. I can see the logic in it.
Yeah, I definitely can see the logic in it. He did. I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about Stephen Davis, if I'm being honest with you, lads. He's a legend of the club. I've said this on the podcast before. Love the guy, professional, knows the club, is like me and you. He bleeds blue. And I think that's exactly what you need at a time like this. You need somebody to steady the ship, because we are screaming out for somebody to do that. We need to get a bit of consistency going. We need need these 2 results. I think Stephen Davis will be in for the Limassol game and the St Mirren game, and I fully expect the board to appoint someone for the Hibs game. That's the way I'm looking at it just now. I might be wrong, but that's the way I'm looking at it just now. So I think he's in to steady the ship, and Ali's right. I'd like to think Stephen Davis and Alec Ray as well will be going round about the kind of new players and having chats with them and saying, listen, this isn't what it's like all the time here. Remember why you came here. Remember why you signed. It didn't work out for the previous manager. Do you think you could do better? Let's see it then. Reset now. You're on a clean slate now. Never mind what the fans are saying, because they need to block out this atmosphere. Whether we're right or wrong to boo them or shout them or whatever, it doesn't matter. They need to be professional enough to block that out and get the job done. They are paid professionals. So I have no sympathy for any of them. I'll be honest with you. But I think that's his job just now over the next 3-4 weeks, is to just steady the ship, have a conversation with the new players, and prepare a handover for the management team that does come in, an honest handover as well, because the difficult thing for Stephen Davis is he has a lot of friends in that dressing room. Yeah. And does he have honest conversations with the new manager that comes in, or have an honest input in the handover that he gives the new manager, or does he just steady the ship and walk away? I don't know, but that's his job from now till the new management team comes in. But I fully expect end of the month, I reckon there'll be a new manager in.
Yeah, I'm along the same lines, mate. I fully expect the board to have already made approaches. I know they said it in the statement, they can send them they want in their statement, but I do believe that they will already be in motion, because if not, it's not due diligence, is it really, for them to have not at least created a short list of people, considering how their seasons went. It should have already been in process. And I heard a point, I think it was on Heart and Hand, I can't remember when it was, but would Bennett and any of his other jobs that he had, any other business that he had, not have something like this in place in terms of a list of people that could come in if should something go wrong. So I don't expect it to have happened now. I expect Rangers to be already in motion and speaking to the candidates that they want to speak to, or who they've identified as they want it to be. In terms of the future, Ryan, I'll come back to you. Me and Ali briefly spoke about it last night. I will come to you as well, Ali. Are you in agreement with what me and Ali were saying, that it needs to be an experienced head? We can't have any more experimental managers or developing managers, if you like. It's going to need to be someone that is going to be really have to make brave calls as well.
Yeah, they need to get this right. I mean, I feel as if I'm repeating myself from a year ago. There can be no gambles. I understand every managerial appointment or transfer is a gamble to some point. They need to appoint someone with a track record, Carney. They need to spend money on this if the person is already attached to another club. It needs to be somebody who's a winner. And for me, it needs to be somebody who knows the Scottish game as well. I do believe that. I think it needs to be somebody. I don't think we can take a gamble, a manager down south, or somebody kind of a bit more left wing. I don't think we can do it, mate. I think we need to, very much like when we appointed Alec McLeish, and I remember when Alec McLeish was appointed the manager, I was like, what are we doing? Why are we appointing Alec McLeish? He's the manager of a Scottish team. We're Glasgow Rangers. And I had that snobby head on when I was younger. And I look back now and I think, Alec McLeish was a fantastic manager for Rangers, brought trophies home, and I think that's, for me, that's what we need to be looking at. And we can't take a gamble again. A Pedro Caixinha or a Michael Beale should have been once, maybe twice in your lifetime, Carney. We've had it twice in a decade. We are incompetent managers who, I'll be honest, didn't deserve to be appointed to the manager of Glasgow Rangers. They didn't have a track record to say, do you know what, you deserve this job. And that's what it's got to be this time. When we appoint a manager, I want to appoint a manager who I look at and go, what's he done? Where's he won trophies? Where's the big games he's won? Where's the players he's worked with? Right, I understand why we appointed him now. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's what we need to be looking at, Carney. There can be no... The time for this messing about is long gone now. They've failed as a board in their appointments. This one cannot be a failure.
Yeah, Ali, the board can't afford it to be a failure. I know we've said this a million times. Honestly, you could repeat yourself over and over, but the board have to get this one correct now, because we won't put up with another failed manager. The board won't survive it. As far as I'm concerned, it'll be calls of the way it was for Robertson and Wilson, I suppose it'll be calls for them to go, but they have to get it right. But even in terms of, as I mean about being the new manager that comes in is going to need to be brave. We all know the old guard, mate. We all know the old guard without breaking it all down. And the players, everybody knows who we're speaking about. But there's plenty of them players, mate, that are past their best, and there's plenty of them players that are failing to reach levels that are probably acceptable within a game for Rangers. I know obviously he's going to be limited due to who we have in the squad and who's available, but even at that, there's people chomping at the bit in terms of not youth players and such like, but there's fringe players that they're really, it's a fresh slate for them as well, and it should be, in my opinion, it should be a fresh slate for everyone within the team. It's time for jobs for the boys to stop, and it's time for the players that deserve to play to play.
Yeah, well, when Beale came in, he's worked with some of these players before. I want somebody with. I agree with Ryan. It's got to be somebody. I want a winner, which is easier said than done because these guys might be attached to clubs. They might cost money. We've obviously had to pay Michael Beale and his backroom staff off. What money we've got, I don't know. But I want fresh eyes looking at this team, Carney. I don't want any. I want somebody from the outside coming in, and I want him to have a look at this squad with his own eyes and make his decision what he thinks is for Rangers going forward. And I agree. It's a fresh slate for every single player at that club. Even guys that have been written off. Cyril Dessers, I've written off by pretty much every Rangers fan. Guys like him. They need a chance. I know.
I mean, there's others I'll say yes. Dessers, mate, I'm like, I can't see it. I'd be.
I've been kind to Cyril Dessers.
I know. We were saying this about Rabbi Matondo last year.
That's also true, mate. That's true. True.
I'm just using Dessers as an example. All of them have got a clean sheet. I'm just using. He's the one that's been the most written off, if you want to say so far. So he needs a chance under a new manager. If we put £4 million on him, we can't just cast him aside. 4-year contract, whatever it is. So I still don't rate him, Carney. I mean, I do not rate him. I've not seen it yet. But you never know. You never know. As Ryan did say, Rabbi Matondo 2.0.
That's true.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting who comes in. And like you say, he's not going to have much. He's got the players to work with, Carney. You get January window. We have spent money in the summer there. I know we released players in terms of we got transfers in, so we kind of balanced the books at the ins and outs. So it'll be interesting what he thinks going forward in terms of this Rangers team. But I'll be honest, Carney, a guy's not just going to come and wave a magic wand for Rangers.
No,
it might take us 18 months or so to get back in an even keel. And I want success tomorrow as being a Rangers fan, but being realistic going forward, we might have to just wait. But see if I can see something in a manager, Carney, then I'll stick with him. Similar to when Gerrard came in, you could see something building. The fans will stick with him. Michael Beale, unfortunately, the fans couldn't see it, and so yeah, it's exciting times a new manager come in, Carney. But yeah, I want to see something fresh, something I can buy in as a fan.
Yeah, I'm the same. I just want them to play players where they're meant to play them into positions that their natural position is, and to try and get the best out of what you have. I generally don't believe that every single player that Michael Beale signed is a complete dud. There must be something in some of these players. There has to be. Some of them did quite good. Some of them got to quite a decent level previously. So there must be something in there. It's up to the new manager that comes in to try and get the best out of the squad that he has. Because I say a lot of them are going to be here for a while until we move them off. I reckon we'll make a loss on quite a lot of the players as well. That's another thing that the board are going to need to factor in. But that's all the stuff that fans don't really care about in situations like this. I don't really care because it's all about winning games of football, and right now we're not. So yeah, the job in hand's a tough gig. It really is. It's going to be a tough gig, but I do still think with certain tweaks, certain adjustments, brave decisions in terms of who we're going to play and who we're going to not stick with, then that's going to be a key, and it'll give us something to hold on to. Who knows what's going to happen the rest of the season, and who knows who the next manager's going to be. But it's all Right, so all a bit of an uphill battle now, really, for the rest of the season. But as I say, I still think it's an attractive offer. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world, no matter what way you want to look at it. We are still in Europe. We are 7 points behind the league, I get that, but we're still in 2 cups, so there is still something there to go on. There's still something that if a manager believes in what he's seen so far or what he sees in players, then you never know what could happen. But I agree, it could be a long road to recovery. It really could be a long road to recovery. We'll finish up with just a quick look ahead to the next game. Obviously, Rangers travel to Aris Limassol on Thursday night in the second game of the UEFA Europa League group stages. Limassol are currently 5th in their Cypriot First Division with 3 wins, 2 draws, 1 defeat. It looks like quite a tightly contested league, though. I think there's only 3 points separating 1st and 6th. So there's quite a few teams that have started pretty decent, or they're all similar levels anyway. They lost 3-2 away to Sparta Prague in the first group stage match. Ryan, this is a really difficult one to predict. Like a very difficult one to predict, because we don't know what Steve Davis is going to do. What do you think Steve Davis will do? Do you think he's going to continue with what Beale was trying to push forward? I mean, I know he says he's been in and about the club, and I know I'm asking you to look into a crystal ball, mate. I do understand that. I do appreciate that. But or do you think we'll see more of a 4-3-3, a more something that he's played, he's done, something that he understands, something that the majority of the players are going to understand, and almost simplify what Beale was trying to do in order just to try and get something out of the players?
Yeah, I think he'll go down the simplified route and try not to complicate it too much. I think personnel will determine it as well, mate, because we don't have a lot of players fit at the moment.
No, we don't have a big squad, no.
We don't. We're looking at that bench on Saturday. We don't have a lot of options to change things about. So, yeah, I think you could probably predict the team on Thursday. But what I do think is, you say, is it too hard to predict in terms of score? I wouldn't be overly surprised if Rangers go out and win on Thursday. You see it so many times when a manager leaves his position in a team looking turmoil, they go out and win the next game, and then you think that poor manager's sitting in that house and just lost his job. I wouldn't be surprised if Rangers stick in a performance on Thursday, mate. Then whether that's a reflection on the coaching staff or the players' attitudes or whatever, but yeah, it just it will not surprise me if we go and get a performance on Thursday. But I think Stephen Davis isn't going to come in and start trying to mess about with tactics and play a 4-4-2 or any surprises, mate. I think he'll stick with the players that you've seen, and I don't think we'll see many changes to the system on Thursday.
Yeah, Ali, I suppose there isn't many changes you can make in terms of the squad because of how big the injury list is just now. But in a way, the appointment of Davis has probably lifted pressure on the players as well, because there's not much pressure on Steve Davis. I know it's easy for me to say that. Stephen Davis is probably going, my goodness, what what have I been landed with here? But you know where I'm coming from, because we're not expecting much. I'm probably along the same lines of Ryan. Maybe it's hope more than anything else, but I believe that we'll probably be all right on Thursday. I'd imagine that we'll manage to put together a decent enough squad to get a result on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday for some reason doesn't overly bother me in terms of Rangers going out there, because I'm the same. I wouldn't be shocked if Rangers got a result. It's Sunday away at St Mirren is the one for me, because St Mirren are going well in the league. If we can't drop any points in this league, if we drop any more points, potentially you could see the league's pretty much gone by October. So can't drop any more points. Interesting what the team will play tomorrow night, because Ryan Jack's injured again. Yilmaz, obviously I know he wasn't in a European squad. He's injured as well, obviously, with St Mirren as well. So slim pickings. And as Ryan says, you looked at that bench and Saturday, not much on it. Young boy, just full of young boys. But yeah.
Can he bring Rice in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd imagine it'll be Rice then, wouldn't it? I'd imagine that's probably what he'll do. The team, as I say, will probably be Butland, Tavernier, Goldson, Davies, Barisic, Rice, Lundstrom, Cifuentes, Lammers, Dessers, and Seema. Yeah, Seema. So I couldn't remember who the last one was. Yes, Seema.
That's my team, Carney.
Yeah, I think that's all he can do. Really, let's be honest. I don't think there's much he can do. Right?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I think the team pretty much picks itself, boys. Same as it was on Saturday. I think our teams were all the same on Saturday. We picked on the pod last week. See Bailey Rice, boys. for me now, it's the perfect opportunity to bring him in, not before when the pressure was on, because just now I don't think the pressure's on the players at the moment.
Mhm.
I think there's this kind of, we've just hit this lull, and maybe when the new manager comes in, I think just now is the perfect time just to play Bailey Rice and just say, just go and enjoy your football. Go enjoy your football, take advice for the senior players, or not, and just enjoy yourself, because he's nothing to lose. He's obviously a huge talent, and at times I think we're struggling in the midfield, especially with like Ryan Jack injured again. We look very weak in the midfield at the moment, and Cifuentes for me had an absolute shocker on Saturday. I don't want to dwell on that too much, but I thought he had an absolute shocker. So play the boy. If it's a game in Europe and he doesn't do well, that's all right. He'll play well the next game. So I think it's a perfect opportunity, and it might give us something to get excited about, mate.
Yes, it might. Here's hoping. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be the team, I would imagine. I can't see any drastic changes in that, just purely based on what he has to pick from. So yeah, the intermission before the new era begins with Steve Davis taking over and taking us to Cyprus on Thursday night, and I'm sure every single one of us, probably the majority of the people watching this anyway, wish him nothing but the best. There might be a few otherwise persuaded people that watch these podcasts from time to time that are probably thinking the opposite. But yes, on to Thursday now. For tonight, Alistair, thank you very much, mate.
No problem. Yeah, on to Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. The Europa League's a bit of a sideshow for me this year in terms of there's pressure in it, but there isn't pressure. So, like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if Rangers got a result on Thursday night. Yeah, it'll be difficult out in Limassol, it'll be hot out there, etc. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a result. So, yes, so down to Steve Davis and Alec Ray. On they go.
Oh, unbelievable. Imagine telling yourself this at the start of the season. This is where we would be, honestly. Ryan, hope you feel a bit better after that, mate. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, nice one. Aye, always good to talk about Rangers. As I say, it is a therapy session. I keep saying it, but it literally is. Like, I feel better now than I did at the beginning of the pod. It's ridiculous. Hopefully Rangers get a result on Thursday. Wouldn't be surprised if they do. Wouldn't be surprised if they turn in some sort of performance as well, boys. It happens a lot when managers get relieved of their duties. But yes, the man is away, but we're on a long journey back to where we want to be. And hopefully Stephen Davis is just the start of it.
Yeah, this is the start of the road to recovery, that is absolute sure. So yeah, we will be back on Thursday after the game, win, lose or draw. We will be here, we'll bring you some form of reaction to Steve Davis' first game in charge as interim manager of Rangers. So thank you for tuning in. Please do like, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and we'll speak to you on Thursday. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers everybody.